First item is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ms. Dobson,
Here.
Mr. Earhart, Mr. Mitchell,
Here.
Mr. Aravalo,
Here.
Ms. Dominic, Mr. Sly, Ms. Squire,
Yes.
Mr. Welsh.
Yep.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Very good. Okay, approval of agenda.
I need to request removal of item number 4.
Move we approve the agenda as amended.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Alrighty, citizen participation. As long do we have anybody signed up for citizen participation?
No.
Alright. Anybody in the audience?
Probably will be during the public hearing, so.
Okay. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to add before we start with their meeting? Any citizens have anything that they want to talk about? All right, very well, we'll move on then. Formal commission action, approval of minutes from the October 5th meeting.
Excuse me, I recommend we approve the minutes from the October 5th meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the October 5th meeting. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
Abstain. Aye.
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 Motion carries 4-0-1. All right. Item number 2, final plat application 118-2023.
Good evening. Tonight we have plat 0001118-2023 for Plaza Village subdivision located at 217th and Webster on the east side. It is 4.43 acres. You guys approved the preliminary plat not too long ago. It'll be 13 lots. They're duplexes. The applicant, who is here tonight, if you have any additional questions I can't answer, Payne and Brockway, and the owner, GTI Group, has submitted an application for final plat of Plaza Village subdivision. The property is currently zoned R2 for two-family residential district. The preliminary plat for the subdivision was approved by you in July. The applicant will need to submit the required plans drawings showing the proposed construction of all streets, public use area, stormwater facilities, sanitary sewer lines, and water lines. These drawings will be reviewed by the city engineer and public works and the applicable utility companies. Staff has submitted the proposed final plat to all consultants, and that includes the Johnson County Fire District Number 1 for review and comment. Comments from these individuals have been implemented into the plat as needed. Staff has verified the person or persons and name of the plat are the owners. All unpaid taxes have been paid. There's adequate public facilities available. Erosion control will be installed and maintained per our city standards. Let me see, there's not gonna be any trail system, so there will be a park impact fee of $300 per lot that will be paid during the building permit. There will be a required improvement agreement, which we are preparing and will be submitted along with the excise tax prior to signing of the final plat. Additional easements may be required and will be addressed during the construction plans. You can recommend approval, recommend denial, or table. Staff does recommend approval of plat 118/2023 for Plaza Village.
Thank you. Any questions, any discussion?
No. I think we asked most of the questions last time we looked at this.
Motion to approve plat, final plat application 000118/2023 as presented by staff.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve final application 118-2023. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0-0. All right, item number 3 is a public hearing for rezoning preliminary plat application PZD 121-2023 and plat 119-2023 from RR to RP2. So in a public hearing, first thing we want to do is check and see if anybody has any ex parte communications that they need to reveal. And if there's any conflicts of interest, anybody needs to mention.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, so I'll officially start the public hearing and looking for a report.
All right, this is a rezoning application, PZD 121/2023, along with the preliminary plat 119/2023. It's a proposed rezoning from RR to RP2. This particular portion will be single-family lots. It's at the southwest corner of 207th and Ridgeview. This part of the rezoning is 69.6 acres. The applicant, BR Estates at Arizona LLC, has submitted a request for rezoning of the property located at the southwest corner of 207th and Ridgeview. The property is currently zoned RR, which is rural residential, with requested zoning to RP2, Plan 2 family, for the purpose of constructing single-family homes. The legal description is attached. The applicant is interested in rezoning the property for residential subdivision. The golden factors, we went through all of those. The surrounding neighborhood is rural and suburban residential as shown on the aerial map. Proposed uses for and design of the site will be compatible with the neighborhood. A planned district will dictate the buffering and building design. The adjacent zoning is rural residential, single-family residential, and two-family. It is suitable for the current zoning. The site is currently zoned RR, with, again, surrounding zones as residential. The zoning will allow for planned single-family and two-family residential. The future land use map from the comp plan shows the use as mixed-use residential and mixed-use commercial, as well as residential. The existing neighborhood and area is currently used as residential with less intense land use than the proposed development. The proposed rezoning to planned zoning districts will allow the city to impose development and performance standards to minimize the impact, and the proposed development will have on nearby properties through buffering and building design. The site's been zoned RR since it was annexed into the city. Public gain includes developing a property into a subdivision for an area that is included within sanitary sewer district. The developer will also be required to make improvements to 207th and Ridgeview. The proposed rezoning would be in conformance with the Spring Hill Comp Plan, which shows the parcel as residential, mixed-use residential, and mixed-use commercial. This would assure that the proposed neighborhood would be compatible with the residential areas that already exist. The comp plan promotes the use of higher density land uses to encourage a broad range of housing types and price levels to provide neighborhoods of a mix of people with diverse ages, races, and incomes. It is suitable parcel for uses in this current zoning, blah, blah, blah. Pretty much is all repeating. The rezoning will allow for a two-family residential use. The future land use map of the comp plan shows this area to be residential. No errors are being corrected. All utilities are adequate and available to the property, and the property is adequately suited for the proposed use. Hardship can be. Did somebody say something? Oh. The issue of hardship can be better addressed by the applicant and owner. There are 241 residential lots proposed on 160 acres. The applicant is applying for the plan zoning to reduce the minimum size, width, and building setbacks of lots. A copy of the proposed preliminary plan and landscape plan is included with the staff report. The plat was sent out to city staff and consultants for a review. The review comments from government agencies, consultants, and utility providers have been implemented as applicable on the new preliminary plan. The applicant and their engineer have addressed all of the provided comments. Utility easements are shown with dimensions meeting the minimum easement requirements for the city. Additional easements may be required and addressed during the infrastructure construction design process. A traffic impact study will be required, and that will be submitted during the first phase of the construction. The city will provide sanitary sewers, and Johnson County Water One will provide water to the subdivision for the north half, and the applicant will work with Water One or Miami County Rural Water District 2 for the south half of the property. Staff has reviewed whether the parkland open space is in conformance with the Spring Hill regulations. Below, the subdivision is required to provide 15% of public or private active open space. They have identified all tracts with a total of 10.7% or 55 accessible acres as private open space and common areas. A trail running through the parkland is listed as a public trail system that may connect to a regional trail in the future. The comp plan does not show any trails in the area of the subdivision, so the addition of the public trail is a good amenity to the area that may be connected to future trail system. The RP2 area proposes lot size reductions for the minimum standards required for R2. RP2 areas propose building setback reductions, no side yard setback reduction from 7 foot to 5 foot, no rear setback reduction from 25, and front setback reduction from 35 to 25. The portion of the preliminary plan identifies RP2 B is designated as residential by the future land use map and is considered appropriate for low-density residential. The submitted building elevations are conceptual in nature. However, the building elevations for the final development plan will include greater detail on the dwelling layouts. The block length for the following streets have been increased for the following area. I won't go through all of those, but they're listed there. We do recommend approval of BZD 121-2023 RP2B rezoning. And we recommend approval of the of the preliminary plat 119-2023 for Bridger at 207. And there is a suggested motion there.
All right. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. All right, is the applicant here tonight?
Yes,
Okay,
their representative is.
okay, very good. Do you have anything you'd like to say, or?
Just that Amy did a good job of covering everything. I'm here for any questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any questions for,
Are there gonna be basements in there? On any of them?
I would assume it was not indicated to me whether or not they plan to do basements. The single family were intended to be sold as single lots, but they certainly could have basements, yes.
Okay.
Number 3.
any other comments or questions? All right. Anybody from the public have any comments that they would like to make? So if you would come up and state your name and address, please, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Gina McBride, 18340 West 215th Street. So on this map, is this the whole 160 acres or?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
okay. So it's all duplexes and single-family homes, no apartments?
Amy, could you address an RP2?
So this is split into two. So you're going to hear the second part of it, which is going to be also RP2, but the two proposals tonight are both maxed out at RP2, which means it's duplex or single family. So you can't put an apartment in any RP2. So these two applications tonight will not include apartments.
But is that the total amount of land that's been purchased, or is there a section that's not being addressed yet?
If there's a section that's not being addressed, that would be considered in a future meeting. So they'd have to come back and ask to rezone that remaining portion to something else, whether it's anyone from R1 to R5 or commercial
We have R5?
or industrial
I think we just have R4.
to R4, yeah.
And that was point. No. Okay. Matt McBride, also 18340 West 215th, so we're directly south of the property.
Okay,
I've never come to one of these before, so
well, welcome to your first one.
thank you. That was a lot of information that was presented, and in the beginning, there was a comment made about the surrounding areas being rural and suburban. But I don't think there's any area surrounding this that's suburban, unless I'm missing something. So directly to the south, there's at least 4 plots that are 40, so we own 40 acres. To the west of me, there's 2 people that each own 40 acres. To the east of me, there's one that owns 40, and the one farther east of them owns at least 40. And then on the north, along 207th, and then even to the north of that, there's no I don't know what we're saying the definition of suburban is, but there's no residential area surrounding this chunk of property. So I just wanted some clarification on what we're saying is suburban versus rural.
Amy, are they including Woodland Ridge that's on to the west? Okay,
Yes.
How far to the west?
it's the plot right next door.
Right on the side of the creek.
So of that square, just if you take one of those, put one next to it, there's
Right.
a whole subdivision right next to it.
Okay, that subdivision. Okay,
Yep.
very good. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Rob Cousins. I also live south of the property, 18950 West 215th Street. We knew this day would come, where this would build. I did have one question. And I talked to the engineer a little bit, but I just want to get clarification in front of the commission. They're requesting the single-family area be zoned RP2. Is there any way for them to zone that RP2 and then change the plat for those to be duplexes instead of the single family that we're seeing right now?
So in an RP zoning, that's a residential planned area, they would have to bring it back before the planning commission in order to change the current plans. Is that correct, Spencer?
Yeah, so what is approved tonight will be their rezoning, and when they're rezoned to a planned district, it comes with a preliminary development plan, and it's locked in not just to what the city's code says for R2, but it's also then additionally locked into the preliminary development plan, which is, as we see here. So if they wanted to change that and do something different, they would have to come back and ask for permission and do this whole process over again. And you could come back and see us.
All right, and if I may, to the engineer, so far as you know, there's no plan to develop that anyway, other than how it's platted presently, correct? All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right,
I have a question.
What's up in the top corner there, the gray section?
So if you could state your name, please, and
Sorry, could you restart that so we get it all on the microphone for this?
Craig Drummond, I'm a property owner south. We're all three of us are neighbors. If you look across the bottom property line, we own all of that, so we're kind of curious what you guys are up to. 18400 is my address on 215th Street. The gray section in the corner, what is that exactly? Is that the one they're holding off to do later?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, that section is not under discussion at this time. There's gonna be a future meeting for that area.
But it has a plot design in it.
but
I
it's
think-
not, it's not
yeah,
before our
no,
board at
it's-
this point, though.
Yeah, they just have squares there. Those aren't actually plots.
But the roads come in to service that and so do the utilities. So if you don't know what you're zoning now versus then, isn't that a bit of a problem?
That's not the way it works. We can only vote on what we have brought before us.
I see. My other question was the improvements at Ridgeview and 207th. You said that, wasn't it said the developer was gonna make those?
Amy, the developer has a certain responsibility for those.
They do. Yep, for 207th, and then they will hold off a part of some right-of-way on the Ridgeview side, so when it's ready to be constructed, then we have that.
And then one follow-up question. We just rezoned to the west of this, on the north side of 207th, another 80 acres for multifamily. Just a couple of weeks ago, a month ago,
Like 6 months ago.
6 months ago.
It's been a while.
So-
There's a lot of water been under the bridge since then.
I'm just curious why Spring Hill wants to be a multifamily residential area. You guys, since I've been out here, all I've heard is small town feel, great schools, and a great place to live. And rental property does not do that. And these duplexes, I don't care how nice they are, they're not gonna be nice enough. I'm kind of concerned that right now there's all that money out there for these developers to come in and stick these projects in small suburban areas. And we're gonna let them do it. And we're gonna ruin our community with a bunch of rental property. I've only seen 4 rental properties in my life that were, maintained their value. So it's something to consider. We have a shining example of rental property in Spring Hill right now that is terrible. And you've got a little jewel in your hands. Johnson County, southern, where everybody wants to live. I'm questioning what kind of community you want to be in. I've been all over this country. I've seen development everywhere. I've never seen a rental development enhance a community. I've only seen it bring it down. And there's a reason why they want to stick it in Spring Hill. You should consider that before you decide this is the way you want to go. Has nothing to do with the fact that I'm adjacent to it. It may want developers to come buy my property, but I don't care. I'd rather see single-family homes, people that own their property take care of it. People that own their property care about the community. And I'm not social engineering, I'm just stating a fact. So, something to consider. And when we came out here, Spring Hill was just a little tiny blip. And boy, the village is great, these other new subdivisions are great. The one that was mentioned up there on 207th is great. All single-family homes. And now here comes the rental. Here comes in the multifamily. So, there's a reason they're coming here. You gotta decide whether or not you want to change the way we're headed. So consider that. Because once you build them, they're not gonna tear them down for about 50 years. But they will eventually.
All right. Thank you for your comments. Any other public comments? All right. Then we'll move on to Any further clarification from commission members? Any questions for Amy or for, yes, you look like you have a question.
I know. Well, I apologize because I've been at work and I know this came in today with this on there and I haven't had a chance to review it. But I'm seeing it saying something about the RP2, and it does say something about Plan 2 Family Residential District. So
So just as a reminder, anytime that there, if it's an RP2,
Uh-huh.
that means it can be zoned for up to duplexes.
Right.
But you can always, they can always build down to single-family residences.
and right now they're proposing just single family residences, but in an RP2.
I believe that's correct.
In the one we're talking about right now, yes.
And
Why aren't
because
they
it is,
asking for RP1?
I don't know.
because it is a planned district, they can't change it without bringing it back before us.
Gives us more control.
Yeah, so I just still don't understand why it's not being requested as an RP1 if that's what they're intending to do.
You'd have to ask the applicant about that.
Do you want to answer that?
I'm not here to defend them, I'm just telling you what they're asking for.
Sure. That was the initial discussion we had with the developer, was to go with the smaller zone that allows more flexibility with the setbacks. Having worked for a number of developers who are also builders, they like the smaller setback, even when they're building the single-family homes. That way they have more room on the lot to position the home, move it from one side or the other, that sort of thing. Garages these days are usually 3 wide, and sometimes that's difficult when you can't, when you're next to another 3-car garage and then you have a massive pavement on one side. So just having flexibility within the lot is what really the
So you
intent.
need an RP2 to do that instead of an RP1?
Typically, your RP2 would have a different setback, smaller setback than your RP1.
Explain setback. Because I'm thinking setbacks, like if something goes wrong, but you're saying, is it setting back,
Like your side yard setback from the property line?
The distance from the edge of the building to the property line is your setback, so there's side, front, and back.
okay.
Yep.
Isn't it usually 20, 20, front and back, and then 5 on the sides? Is it standard? Yeah.
And yeah, we'd have to come back here, from what I understand, if they wanted to change the single family at all.
I do see where that would be concerning though. To, you know, the current citizens who live back there and seeing that it's proposed as an RP2.
Sure.
Thank you. Did I answer your questions? Or did that answer your one question? And I'm not trying to push you, I'm just asking if it answered your question.
So are we showing, I guess again, I haven't been able to look at everything, but is it showing right now that there is that need for the RP2 so that they have enough?
That is what the applicant is requesting.
Uh-huh. But is their buildings, their plats right now showing that they need that RP2 in order to fit their proposed buildings in there? Okay.
That isn't what our job is
Yeah,
here.
we can't
Our
debate
job
that.
is not to critique what they're doing, our job is to either vote for or vote against what they're bringing before us.
It's a rezoning.
Does that make sense?
So right now, I'm not gonna consider that they are intending to put single families on there. I just have to say whether or not I agree that an RP2 should go there, knowing that it could be townhomes.
Well,
It would be an RP2 under this preliminary development plan. So this preliminary development plan does not show it as townhomes. This preliminary development plan shows it as RP2 with single family.
Okay, so then my question is valid. So the family homes that they are planning to build require an RP2 because what he's saying is that its setback is different. So they're planning on putting the buildings closer together than they would for an RP1, and that's why he wants an RP2.
actually, the setbacks do not,
Well,
the setbacks are determined because it's a planned residential, not whether it's an RP1 and RP2. Is that not correct? Because it doesn't matter whether it's RP1 or RP2 as far as the setbacks go, it's what they're requesting.
right, so they've requested an RP2, which is the applicant's choice. They could come in here and request an RP4 and still put in a single family.
Correct.
you know, in the city and you all, you know, it's not really, we're not armchair quarterbacking that. We're deciding if this, in a normal case, if they were asking for R2 and saying, we think we're going to put in single family, that's a pretty valid question because it's like, well, if we're just going to give you R2, you could change it later. Here they're saying RP2. So we know they're going to put in the single families because we have their preliminary development plan. And if they wanted to, yeah, or if they want to come back and say, you know what, maybe we did want duplexes up there too, they got to come back and answer that valid question.
And then it's already gonna be zoned for RP2, and it's gonna be easier for people to say, okay, well, we zoned it that way.
Well, every rezoning on its own is looked at on its own there. So if you wanted a single family that's approved, but they want to come in with that substantial change, it would be a new public hearing and you'd have to be asking them why they want to switch it to duplexes when they sold it to a single family.
They can't change anything unless they come back and ask us.
Right.
I know, but then we set with, maybe I'm just having a bad day, but I feel like then it's gonna be, we're gonna have this discussion and it's gonna be, well, it fits in an RP2, so we have to say yes. I mean, that comes up all the time. That's what I'm told all the time. Well, does it fit in the guideline? Well, we said the comprehensive plan is an RP2, so if it fits in there, then we have to vote for it. Well, that's what I'm saying. Now is the time for us to say, why is this so important to be an RP2 if you want RP1, if you're gonna build a single family? And I know there's only 3 people in the audience, but that's what I always feel my job is to listen to the people who actually live here, not the people that are coming here or a developer from another state or county or whatever who wants to put stuff here. This is our city, this is our town, and I agree we have to be listening to people who live here and make those decisions based on what is best overall. We do have a ton of homes coming in, but whatever, I get that. But whether it should be more townhomes, and I'm hearing rental, I don't know if that's true, but, again, I don't know why we would say RP2 when the intention is single family, so, I mean, that's just my questions I'm asking, or proposing, or,
And just to clarify, so townhomes go in R3. So R2 just lets you do duplexes, which is 2 per. So, and I'm a lawyer, so I get to argue semantics. I don't know if that's what you meant, but I'm just going to put that in there in the record since we're in a public hearing.
I get you, so you're saying instead of 4, it would be 2.
Right, so
Yeah, there's
RP2,
still
the
houses
maximum they could, if they wanted to redo a preliminary development plan and come back and see you all again for a full public hearing,
Gotcha.
they could put in duplexes, but if they want to do more, it'd be completely new rezoning. Either way, it's a new public hearing because they're revising their preliminary development plan with a substantial change.
What's the setbacks on an RP1? We said 2025 on R2, what?
35.
I think it's 7, but I'm not sure.
7 is R on the side,
Right,
and 35 in the back
so our,
or front.
RP1,
Front,
what's the
35 in the
setback?
front.
I think it's 7 on the sides, but I
It
don't
is.
know if it's 30 or 35.
I think it's 35.
35.
It says on the.
Okay, so
front,
7 on the
it says
side
RP2.
for R1 and R2.
No side yard
Oh,
setback.
on RP2 too? I thought we just said it was 5.
No, R1 and R2, he said.
Oh,
Yeah, the R2's interior side setback is 7 feet per 17.314 D7. Okay. Yeah, so your R, I'm gonna give you the R1s,
okay.
but I'm gonna get to the right page before I give you the wrong thing. So an R1, which is 17.310, our setbacks are front 35, rear 25, interior side is 7 feet. The 5 feet comes in for things that were platted back before 1976, so that's not this. So it's 35, 25, 7.
And that is the same for an RP1 then?
That is the
I
RP.
don't think,
Well,
It's,
the point of of a plan district is they can request that we lower the requirements for
I'm
it.
just, before they ask for, I just wanna
I
know what we're looking at as an
It
RP1.
does.
How much difference is there between,
An RP,
following up with her comments, how much difference is there between an RP1 and an RP2 on setbacks?
So what we need to look at is an R1 versus an R2.
on page 10, it says for RP2 areas proposed building setbacks reductions, no side yard setbacks reduction from 7 foot to 5 foot, no rear back setback reduction from 25 feet, And the front back reductions is from 35 to 25. So based on what I'm looking at, it's 25, 25, 5
On R2,
on R2,
or RP2.
RP2. Yep.
Sorry, left out of the letter.
So why does it say plot example of a duplex on the paperwork?
For, which page are you on?
I'm on the same
Required.
page, page 10.
And
Giving us a plot plan,
Didn't get my-
example of what those plots will be.
With a duplex or with a single family?
It shouldn't be, it should be the single family one.
Okay, it says duplex.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oops. I don't-
On that example.
on that example, the duplex, I don't know if it has.
If you look at, yeah, so the proposed elevations though on page 5 show what the single family would look like, which is the 3-car garage front.
Yeah, it just doesn't give us that same example area.
So I think what the question is there a difference between an R1 and an R2 setbacks?
RP, I mean.
No, on an R1 and an R2 setbacks. Is there a difference between the two setbacks,
R2 setbacks are 35 front,
which is the same as R1,
25 average in the back,
that's same as R1?
7 on the interior side.
So it's exactly the same as for R1 or R2?
Okay, so then my follow-up question to that's gonna be, if we ask that he not do RP2 and he would change it to an RP1, he could still come in and, because it's planned, he could still come in and ask for different setbacks. Correct?
You could, yeah.
He could still come in and ask for the same setbacks as the RP2 that he's asking for under an RP1. Correct? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Because it's the P that's giving him the ability to do that,
Yes, I would say that's.
right?
Yes. So then the question is, do you want to vote for an RP1 or do you want to vote for an RP2? But so you either have to approve what they're asking for or not approve what they're asking for.
That's.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's
On
a,
the hamster wheel going good, right?
yep, I would say you're on the hamster wheel going good.
On our plan, it's the 5 foot.
But I think either way,
Yeah.
even if we
So
go
on,
back,
just quick clarification, so on a planned district, it's a 5-foot side setback, but that's the same for RP1 and 2. So there's still no difference between the RP1 and RP2 for the setbacks.
Okay.
There are differences. Lot coverage, lot size.
but either way,
Yeah.
even if we said no and said change it to this, they'd still have to come back if they wanted to put something different there and get it changed.
Right.
But if we say
Either way,
RP2, then
we're
gonna
doing the
be-
same amount of work if there's any changes in the future.
But it's a,
And there's no setback
Say-
difference.
no, we wanted RP2. If the board would say that, it's a bigger setback for him.
No.
Yeah, it is.
It's the
because
same.
he has
He
to go
just
back-
said RP1 and
It's the
RP2 is the same.
Oh, well, she's saying setback, not as setbacks, but
Not
as,
as,
Oh, sorry, okay.
it would be prolonging things for him when he could come back with an RP1 and do the same setbacks all around the house as he is asking for now,
Correct.
right?
Yes. If that's what you're wanting to do.
This one's under. It's under the.
Can we still ask questions?
I'm sorry?
Can we still ask questions?
We're technically past that, but I would be willing to let you ask a question.
Sorry, I don't understand the point of them requesting RP2 if their intent is to build single-family homes. The only reason they would be asking for RP2 is they know they're gonna build duplexes. And they're gonna come back and tell you, just like Debbie said, I know we said we were gonna build single-family, but you gave us RP2 and now we're gonna build duplexes. And you would be hard pressed to tell them no, if I'm understanding correctly. So I would respectfully request that you deny their RP2 request and tell them to come back with an RP1 request, which matches what they say that they're gonna do.
Okay, so any other clarification commissioners need? Otherwise, I'm gonna close the public hearing. Anything else? Okay. Public hearing is closed. Now we can deliberate.
What was the future land use for this? The
It
matched.
proposed from 2007 or
I
whatever?
believe it's currently rural residential. I didn't see,
It's rural residential.
Do we have,
It-
I know comprehensive plan is still, yeah.
yeah,
what's the future
did you
land
have
use?
what the future land use was?
Sorry.
It was in
It
here.
was in there. It was in
Yeah,
the
it's
beginning.
showing yellow, it's showing, residential.
That's what I was gonna say, I thought residential, but I'm not pulling it up quick enough, Debbie.
Oh, site location.
Yeah.
I know, I can't ever get it big enough
Yellow.
so I can read it.
Here, yeah.
Okay.
And if I remember right, what you were saying, Amy, was that it's, mixed-use residential or mixed-use commercial as well?
Yes, in the future land use. In the comp plan.
Conformance with the comprehensive plan, the proposed rezoning would be in conformance with the Spring Hill Comprehensive Plan, which shows the parcel as residential, mixed-use residential, and mixed-use commercial. So point number 7. Any deliberation? Any questions? Frustrations? Several? Mary, you been quiet?
I'm good.
Okay. Roger, anything you, any deliberation?
I mean, I feel like we're in the same boat in the end, no matter what. They have to come back to us, whether we go R1 and they want to change it to duplex, or we go R2 and they want to change something different anyway.
And
Okay,
you all are allowed, I mean, you can add additional conditions on if you want. If you wanted to make it a condition that they can't come back and ask for duplexes, that's a condition you can deliberate about. So for Ms. Dominic, I don't want you to feel pressured to give it approve it or deny it exactly as staff hands it to you. If that's something you all want to talk over, it seems like that's kind of the consternation point for you all.
Well, it is for me, because again, I don't understand why we would do an RP2 versus an RP1. And again, I'm listening to the people in here who have land behind that, who are saying, please don't do this. And so if we, are gonna build houses there, at least we can assure them that they won't be, whatever you're calling it, duplexes. I do think that, I feel like I've been caught several times or have been instructed, that, well, it fits this zoning, so we have to do that. And I don't wanna get in that position, whether we just put a little clause saying you can't build a duplex. I would rather just say, well, if you can't build a duplex, then we're doing RP1.
Either way, they can't build a duplex unless they come back and ask. What I'm saying is you could put a condition on is that they're not going to come back and ask, which I kind of
But if
is
they
the
go-
same thing of nothing.
If they go
but
bye-bye and somebody else comes in, then it's already an RP2.
It's an RP2 under this same preliminary development plan. So if they want to do a different preliminary development plan that had duplexes, they'd be right back in
But we're
front of you.
zoning that area for anybody who wants to go there. So if they go bankrupt and they go, because nobody's building houses right now. I mean, I might be wrong, but at 8% interest, I don't see anybody building houses. But if they decide, that they just don't want to build here, maybe they, find something they don't want to build here, and another company comes in and they're like, well, it's already zoned RP2, then we're tied to that. Because it's a different company.
It's RP2, but you're not tied to them putting in duplexes in
Yeah.
this part. If they want to do duplexes, they got to come back and ask for a new,
These people.
No,
Anybody.
anyone else.
I know.
Anybody.
And
And they can only come back on this plan. Let's go with your example where they just said, where you said they're gone. Let's say they decide, we're not gonna do this. We put an RP2, we have this plan. 5 years from now, I come in and say, I'm gonna buy this and develop this. I have to build this plan.
or
I
bring it
can't.
back before.
Yeah, typically if
bring it
someone,
back.
if someone
Or bring it
purchases
back.
land like this, they're gonna just come in and ask for a new plan because they're gonna want to do their own thing.
Okay, run the scenario with me.
more scenarios.
that, no, we'll go off of yours,
Okay.
that Debbie adds to this the teeth of don't come back with duplexes, okay? It passes the board with that, goes on to city council.
They can take that out or if they want to.
They don't have to approve that.
Correct.
They can take that out without rescinding it back, correct?
Correct. You can also, here's the thing, these minutes will be, the city council will have these minutes.
Right.
Regardless of if you put that condition in there, the city council will know how the planning commission feels about
I'm just
coming back to duplexes.
I'm just running that scenario though. If we put that in there, they can take it out and they can add anything else that they want.
Sure. Candidly, I don't know that adding that condition does a whole lot because it puts us in the same square. They have to ask whether that condition is there or not. You all now have a very clear record in your minutes that at least two of you are uncomfortable with them coming back with anything other than a single family on these lots. That in and of itself is a message.
I may not be here in 5 years, and the next person may not go back to these minutes. So I guess you guys know how I'm voting. I just don't see why we'd put an RP2 if they're, and I don't think an RP2 should go there. I think we have plenty of townhomes and duplexes and apartment buildings and stuff, in my personal opinion. I don't have any more discussion.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we've been down this road before too, on we need to be zoning it what it's supposed to be. I mean, I understand what we're doing, I get that. But I think that we've been down that road is we need to be zoning it for what it is gonna be used for. We've got Debbie saying, I won't be here in 5 years. I don't intend to spend another 5 years on this board. Please don't let me spend another 5 years.
Come on.
You keep asking.
You're going for the
I'm gonna
Guinness
be
World
80
Records.
and walking up here with a walker, not just crutches.
No, my walker's in the car.
And city council's going to change quicker than this board's gonna change. So I understand where Debbie's wording comes from with that. I also am very clear and understand that they have to come back no matter what. If we say no as a board and say no, come back with the RP1, they've gotta come back. If they change their minds, they've gotta come back. I understand that, and then that's where I get into this Golden versus Overland Park of, is this pertinent and pressing on the applicant? Are we causing damage? I understand, I mean, that whole teeter-totter thing again. And I also wanna make sure that no matter what we do as a board is understood 2 months from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now. Because you don't know with the way things are going. I mean, we've seen that bounce back to some of us old timers on the board that have okayed something, and because of
Why are you looking at me?
I'm talking the crises have hit, and then and now they're coming back to us now for development. So is that potentially what we're looking at here too? It's all that, nobody has that crystal ball, and I don't know which is the best way to go. But I do understand Debbie's point completely. I don't know.
I wasn't even under the expectation that we could even ask for a different zoning. Every single time we've ever talked about zoning or what they were putting in there,
You're right.
we've always been told,
It-
no, this is what they're presenting, either
Right.
you say yes or no, and they come, and whenever they come back, they come back.
But when
So-
you give the no, you were supposed to give a reason as your no. So the reason would be that we would rather it be an RP1.
I-
But you're right, we're not here to build it for them, we're not here to develop it for them, we're only here as a yes-no board. And that's what they're presenting, so that's
Right.
what we should look
My-
at, but just
my-
make sure that you have your reason behind your no.
So what fits best there? And then also, I do live on 207th. You're adding more and more and more and more people, and I know we've had this this discussion before that they're going to widen Ridgeview, they're going to widen 207th, but when? And so now we're adding a whole bunch more congestion. If you do have duplexes there versus single family,
Oh, I've made that argument plenty of times in my tenure here about I mean, you can go back and look at some of the comp stuff that we got on the books right now where it's like, oh yeah, that was planned to be a 4-lane highway by now.
Yeah.
And it's still 2 lanes. Yeah, one little tiny line in the middle.
I think the issue for me is that there doesn't seem to be any argument with the fact that people are willing to vote to rezone it. The question is what? And you're right, you know, either it's up or it's down, and if they come back, they come back. And so the issue is not whether we should rezone it. It seems to be that we all agree it should be rezoned. The question is to what?
You know what I would like to see at some point? Maybe we could just have a big map of everything that's been approved recently so we can see how many homes are going to be built.
I just told council the other day that I am so disappointed that sitting in this new room, we don't have our maps up. Because in old chambers, we always had future land, what it is now, and what it's gonna go, what it's been changed to. We had maps up and we could see them. And I know this looks pretty, but the big maps are by far more helpful.
And
to
the only
my
way we
old
really
thinking
know is
eyes.
because we know we talked about an area, right? We know we talked about the property north of this. We
Right.
know we talked about the property left of that and the parks, and otherwise we wouldn't know anything.
You know, I appreciate you bringing that concern up about, okay, so we're okay with rezoning it in general. So then what should it really be rezoned to? Because that's really the question. So do we build more houses? Because we're already set in stone or set in place and set in motion for that whole land across there. It seems like between that and the high school is all homes. And then right across from the high school is homes and apartments and whatever. I mean, we got homes going in everywhere. Should this be more of a business district? But
We can't do that
Do that,
tonight.
though.
So the question,
our big
no, but the
question
question isn't what should it be? The question tonight is, should it be RP2? And that's, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys having the forward-thinking thoughts and city planning, and a quick pitch for the comp plan, if any of you out there haven't done your online surveys. But tonight, we're just looking at this section, RP2 or no. It's an up-down vote, like Mr. Arvala said.
yes,
So that's what it is. And if you feel like an RP1 might pass the golden factors while an RP2 might not, that can be your justification for a no. But I do want to ask you all not to let this get into a discussion of what this could be. That's more of a discussion item topic. But during this hearing, during this public hearing for a rezoning, it's really just RP2 or keep it as RR.
Well, and the other thing that has been brought up is duplexes being rentals. And we don't know that. That's the other thing that we don't know. Duplexes are also sold. And the duplexes that I drive by have been well maintained as ownership. And it's some of the lower end of getting into home owning, being able to do but we don't know. We can't ask that, and we don't know that, whether these are gonna be. So, I mean, it's the same thing with a home. You could go buy the home and turn around and rent it.
So any more discussion, or are somebody ready to make a motion? I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, so I mean, I'm perfectly fine with discussing it further, but
I'll make a motion. I move to recommend approval to the Spring Hill governing body for rezoning preliminary plat application PCD 0000121-2023 and plat 001192023 with the conditions as presented.
just a point of clarification, are we voting on both of those, or are we just voting on one of those? Because
Well, that's
that
fine.
motion looks different than what we are.
Yeah. I think I need to scratch the last part.
Well, they kind of go together.
I understand that they go together, but we're only voting on one of them, right?
The rezoning and the preliminary.
All in one,
Yeah, you-
all in one vote.
So the rezoning and the preliminary plat is what we're,
It's just one, because you haven't.
It's,
read it.
yeah,
correct. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was clear and,
Yeah.
it's just all one.
okay.
Can you state the conditions?
So we want to start
There
over
are
on
no
that, or do you
conditions.
want to?
If
Or
you wanna start
I
over,
have
Going off
condition.
with the motion that they,
Just
okay.
That's right.
So I'm just gonna repeat what he said, which is their suggestion motion. Move to recommend approval to the Spring Hill governing body for rezoning preliminary plat application PZD 121-2023 and plat 119-2023 with the conditions as presented and all engineering comments that have not been addressed must be prior to filing a final plat. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this rezoning and the preliminary plat. And I'll start the voting on the left.
Aye.
No,
Would you please state why?
I don't have to state why.
Actually, you do.
You're
That's what-
supposed to on any no.
On any no vote, you're supposed to state why you're voting no.
I don't want the RP2.
Okay? Aye.
Aye.
No, I don't think an RP2 belongs here. I think an RP1 would be great. And I'm also concerned with, adding more, congestion to that area.
Don't you giggle.
Sorry. Serious.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. All right. Skipped item 4, moving on to public hearing for rezoning preliminary plat, item number 5. So we'll open the public hearing again. Request anybody describe any ex parte communications that you might have had?
Nope.
Nope.
I don't know what we're talking about yet, so.
Any conflicts of interest you might have?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Staff report?
Okay. So this is for rezoning request PZD 125-2023, requesting rezoning from RR to RP2. This is 57 acres with 96 lots. Mainly all the information is the same. They are proposing duplexes in this particular rezoning. Or not requesting, they will be building duplexes, I'm sorry. Do you want me to go over the whole staff report? It's pretty much the same as the prior.
I'm okay if you don't, but anybody else
I
wants
don't think it's necessary.
a review of it? Okay. We won't force you to read it all
Okay.
again.
We are here for any questions.
Okay, any questions for Amy?
Can
So it's
you
the same
identify on the map the section you're referring to?
Correct.
Yep, so it's the orange, it's the top northwestern is the 57 acres proposed to be duplexes.
So the southern portion was a.
Single family, yes.
and the
What's in the
northern
yellow is single
portion-
family
So the northwest portion of it would be the duplex.
duplexes, correct,
Also zoned RP2 though,
correct.
okay.
So what we just voted on was the yellow part?
Correct,
correct.
Okay, I thought we were voting the entire part except
No.
the gray.
divided.
Okay. My fault for not being here on time.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's still confusing.
Any questions for Amy?
How many homes is this?
It's 96 lots, so,
So double that, 180?
192.
2 doors.
192 doors. I can't believe you made me do math.
Thank you, Amy. Would you like to say something? I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. I apologize.
Jake Vasha with.
Okay, Jake, thank you. Sorry about that.
That's all right. One thing I failed to clarify last time, we were here before you guys in July and presented a sketch concept of kind of this whole development. And during that discussion is when we brought up the whole zoning thing, and we stated that we were planning to do the portion in single family, but zone it R2, and also the duplex also zoned R2, due to the setbacks that we discussed. During that discussion, it was suggested by you guys that we make it into a plan district so that we clearly delineate which was which. So that's why we did that in the first place, so that, you know, the single family was delineated as single family in the plan district. So as you stated, we'd have to come back to ever change that. So hope that clarifies things, but otherwise it's basically the same.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Jake.
So there's no pool, no playground, and I live in Woodland Ridge, and I know there's concern that kids are already across the street gonna be coming over to the pool. So I just think, or trying to get down the road, the dangerous 207th road that my kids had to ride their bikes on, even though they were told no, to go to the aquatic center. I don't know what, I am personally not for approving a bunch more communities that don't have amenities. A pool, a park, somewhere for kids to play. I think that's just really a big important piece.
Okay,
Are we doing discussion or are we still doing public hearing?
we're still doing public hearing.
Okay.
I just didn't want to cut you off.
Thank you. Sorry.
All right. Any other requests for information from Amy or from Jake? Okay, move on to public comment. Anybody from the public like to comment on this one?
You want my name and address?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Drummond, nobody's asked for that for a while, so.
That's probably a good thing. So, one of the board members made a comment about density. If those duplexes have just the average, there'll be 800 people in that corner. And we didn't talk about that in the other section of duplexes, but I don't think, you talk about traffic congestion, and that's the whole thing about the rental property out here just south of the high school. Primary development ground. They gotta get government subsidized housing grants to build this stuff. Am I the only one in the room that sees what's going on? You're gonna you're selling your future because nobody's building houses today. Well, who cares? We pay the property taxes, we're happy. This business venture is only being built by this out-of-state company because they're getting federal financing. You've done this once already. I mean, come on, guys. So, I don't know how much money they have, but 800 people in that corner, single-family homes, the other duplexes will double that, plus the single-family homes. You have two exits onto Ridgeview, just south of the main entrance towards the high school. And I don't know, we live south of there. You're not gonna get a south exit unless you come and condemn the property. You can't go, there's two exits in your subdivision, and the other two subdivisions all dump onto that road. So, there's lots of reasons not to put high-density housing here, but we've already crossed that bridge.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? All right. Any further clarification that commissioners need? All right. Public hearing is now closed, and members have the opportunity to deliberate now.
You know, it's elevation, but if this is what they're putting in, I don't particularly care for the fronts of these. You're hiding your front doors and showcasing your garages, and that's always been a pet peeve. And that has been stated in the comp plan that that's not what we're after.
So I guess the question would be, do these fit in with the comprehensive plan as far as setbacks between the front door and the garages?
This one picture doesn't.
I don't think it does.
Looks like I can't tell because it's so small, but
Yeah, I can't tell what those numbers are, but it looks like it's a double-digit number.
yeah. 'Cause
And
it
I'm
was,
pretty
6
sure it's
foot.
what, 7 feet is our comp plan?
6.
6?
It looks like
Of how far the
So
door
are
can
you
be back?
looking at, which one are you looking at?
So here, so this distance
Yeah,
between.
that's
the door-
actually, if you zoom in, you hit control and your wheel, and your mouse wheel, you can zoom in on it.
Yeah, mine's
That
not.
actually says 1 foot overhang.
No, this right here. Mine's not doing that.
Well, here, you can look at mine, you can see where it says 1 foot overhang.
So we don't know what that distance is actually then.
they don't know what the distance is from the garage to the door.
Not on this diagram.
Yes, yeah.
1/8 of an inch is a foot. That seems pretty far.
It appears that way.
I guess my question would be, it says 10 inches to 12 inches for the width of the garage? Or is that a pitch on the roof?
I think those are the. We were just looking at those. I think that's those look like pitches. 10/12 would be the.
A 10-12 pitch?
It's still just, we've sent housing plans back before for that, so.
Yep.
Yeah, and the other one looks good. There's no garage on that one.
I feel like we just got done saying no duplexes and now we're like, oh, what do these duplexes look like? I don't
Because
get
of-
it.
That's what they're planning.
So I guess I would, what is the different, so there's 2 different styles of duplexes that you're bringing forth? Mixed residential duplex and Chaffee duplex elevations, is that,
The only ones in this area would be the Chappie ones.
okay.
And that's,
And I guess we didn't have any comments back on any of the duplex layouts, so I guess if there were some things that we missed or needed to adjust, we didn't have a chance to fix that
Okay,
or adjust the plans.
okay.
I'm sure we would make that accommodation though.
When do you guys plan to start building?
You know, phase 1 would come off of 207th Street. I'm not sure how big that first phase would be. Likely, they would want us to start design on that, as soon as, possible. My guess is our design and then the construction of the infrastructure would take another 9 months before they could start building vertical infrastructure.
I'm sorry, so phase 1 was the single family residential, or phase 1 was the?
No, the duplex is right off of 207th Street.
Okay.
That's our only access point, so that's where we have to start.
Okay, sorry, I was paying attention to
Yep.
what I was looking at said listening, I'm sorry.
No problem.
And right across the street, construction's gonna begin, spring, just FYI. Across the street on whatever it is, Foxwood, whatever.
Fox Hollow,
Fox Creek, Fox Point, whatever.
Fox Hollow.
Whole bunch of other houses, so.
I can't read this. Which one is the Chaffee house? The top one or the bottom one?
The 2-story or the 1-story?
It's the
That's
one,
what they're wanting to put in.
one story with the garages, yep.
Is it a 2-car garage, 1 car?
I couldn't even tell you. Is it two? Two.
It's 2 total, but 1 garage per unit.
I think it's 1 door and 2, it looks like.
Is it a double garage door on each side of the duplex?
I mean, 1, yeah.
Sorry, we're,
I'm not the builder.
Amy, you can show up.
But 1
Give us-
garage per unit.
I can't show it on the screen.
Okay.
So you're not sure what the building
Here, I can-
looks like?
Oh, yeah, that's a two-stall garage.
I thought.
Okay.
Both sides.
What's the back? Is it a patio? Is it a,
I believe it's patio in the back, yeah.
Doesn't show that.
So the back, it just shows, if you want this, I've got it on. It doesn't show patios, it just shows windows.
Yeah, I was gonna say. it
There's
doesn't show
no-
that.
If you look at the back, you'll see where it has the patio and there's the post that holds up that roof.
Oh, I see what
See
you're saying,
that?
that right there. It looks like stacked.
Oh.
Yeah, so like
that
the
makes
metal
sense.
roof
Okay,
over their
that makes sense.
patio, and then that one post that holds it up in the corner.
Okay, I see it now.
It's this little tiny thing back there.
is it a martini patio?
'Cause I was looking at it like this.
I mean, they used to, didn't they used to call them
Or
martini,
that's
Yeah,
what
this
I
is
was
your back.
I don't know.
tiny little decks?
That's my only thing with it is, just like Cindy said, I'd like to know the distance between the door and how far out the garage.
Yeah, we're not showcasing garages around here.
No, I mean for, the
Yes, absolutely, but I,
depth, I guess.
and that's what it's
Yeah,
doing.
the door depth.
Showcasing garages, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's
Yeah, but we made
short enough.
something saying that it cannot be more than this,
Yep.
so I would like to know what the measurement is, if you could. Cause if it's more, then we need to change that. Cause we were real specific on a couple, just like you said, and we said no, and they fixed it.
Good discussion. Any other questions for Jake?
And these appear to be slab. Do you know if they are?
They are slab, yep,
Okay, well,
from what I understand.
and what are we doing for tornado shelters? I know it's a zoning, but that's just gonna be my,
Well, we're actually talking about the preliminary plat also.
Oh, that's
so
right,
it is,
this is
it is fair to bring
I
that up.
forgot, I was still zoning here.
We do have tornadoes here.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know you guys are from whatever, Arizona or whatever, but the Wizard of Oz,
I'm from Nebraska.
we have tornadoes. So what is your plan?
he said he didn't know.
In terms of,
Tornado shelters? You don't know?
I don't know.
Help me out. How do you represent the company?
I put together the plan, as far as the infrastructure and the overall layout. I don't do the actual duplex construction plans. I'm not an architect.
Okay.
So I imagine that would go through the building and zoning when they submit the plans for approval through that process.
I'm not gonna back down from that. I want storm shelters.
Is that part of your building code?
I think Pat has said before you can put it in the bathroom or under a staircase or something
Garage
that it
floor
has
or
to
stair-
be,
yeah.
but
It's part of the, I think we changed it.
They could do garage, staircase, bathrooms, but something's. It's not in codes, it's part of the plan, part of the P.
again, I'd also like a pool or something, or some, playground equipment.
We do have amenity space shown on the plat.
Where's that?
On the single family section, there's a 2 acre parcel there.
In the bright purple.
Yep.
Can you point to it?
Over here.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's just empty land, empty space?
It's amenity space.
What will you put there?
They haven't given me exactly what the amenities will be, but more than likely it would conform to something similar in the area so that they can stay competitive with other areas. So if there's pools around here, more than likely it's gonna be a pool or something. There's also a ton of trails and green space.
Did this say there is an HOA
Oh, yeah. There would be an
for
HOA.
both, the duplex and the?
Correct.
Would they be separate separate HOAs, or just be one HOA for one subdivision,
I
correct?
guess I couldn't say whether they'd
Okay.
be separate or the same. I would imagine they would wanna do separate, but
So if you're gonna have an HOA, I would assume that right now, maybe you're planning on selling, not planning on renting the duplexes, or do you know?
they did indicate that they intended to own the duplexes, the developer.
The developer will own them,
Will
so he would rent them out.
more than likely, he would rent them out, at least initially. I don't know if they would eventually sell them or not, but.
So just kind of summarizing what I've heard brought up here is concerns about the distance between the front of the garage doors and the front of the front door.
Okay.
And then the lack of storm shelter being on a slab. So is there anything else that concerns that we have up here?
No.
Well, it seems to me that if we had concerns over the previous plat, because we weren't sure whether there were gonna be duplexes or single family, there should be more concern about this one, because it says it's going to be duplexes.
More concerned that duplexes are going in, or what do you mean?
That duplexes are going in,
Okay, I just wanna make sure I understand.
yeah. And I think that's what the people that spoke were concerned about.
I'm supposed there's nobody from Woodland Ridge here. There was plenty of notice.
The required notice was given.
I mean, I'm here, but I mean, the people who are in that little area that's gonna be adjacent, I know there's a creek that runs through there, but especially Brad, I mean, that's concerning. Weird.
So it's what, 150 feet for rezoning,
200.
200 feet? So that would definitely cross over the creek into that,
Yep.
at least into that first.
I've had a few calls with
Okay.
a few residents but in Woodland.
Okay. Any other deliberation? Thank you, Jake. Yep.
I'm very concerned about the density. I live over there, and that entire piece of land across from us is now houses, or will be houses and townhomes and duplexes and apartments. Oh my, I mean, how are we're gonna need to have little hoverboards to get out of the neighborhood. I don't know how. There's not enough. It's just, we're not there yet. That area is not developed to handle this load of traffic.
So just to help me understand, your concern is the fact that there's gonna be duplexes there, or the fact that it's going to be built up at all?
Duplex is number one, because I think we have a lot of multifamily housing that we've already slated or approved. Again, it would be nice to have a map that shows so that everybody at the meetings can see exactly how many. I think we've already approved a lot of high density housing, but especially in that area, I feel like there's so many other homes that are going in there right now. It's the infrastructure is not there yet.
Okay, so Amy, to address that, we have the RP3 that went in that is to the north and west of this, correct? That section of RP3?
You're not talking directly across the street, are you?
No,
Okay.
north and west, that next
Yeah.
section, that's on the other side of the creek, but
Yes.
north of there, north of Woodland Ridge. And then is there any multifamily that's straight north of this?
They haven't even taken their final plat to council yet.
Okay. So, but was there any on the preliminary plat?
I don't recall.
I don't recall there being any multifamily on that. I'm sorry?
I wanna say that was all single.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to, you were talking about it, we don't have a map, so I'm just trying to
Yeah,
go back in my head what we're talking about.
well, across from the high school, I mean, that's only.
Okay, well, that's the next
Right.
mile up.
Yeah.
Okay, just because we're on 207th Street, we're not on 199th
That's
Street.
single
Correct.
family though.
Okay. Okay,
The apartments are gonna be single,
Across from
The high
high
school?
school is single family.
there's not gonna be any apartments there?
I don't think that was in their plan.
In 207th and Ridgeview, is that what you're referring to?
I thought that we had apartments on the corner of that
there's
section.
townhomes.
Where Crotchets used to live?
That one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are apartments.
Well,
But that's the
I
only.
think it
they
was-
were putting them single family towards the states, I guess, in Wolf Creek.
Right,
Yeah.
but then at the corner, I thought that was
Possibly.
apartments at where the brick house is.
I can't make
Yeah,
out.
it's where
Put
Crotchets live,
apartments in there.
right?
Little Crockett's
Yeah.
lived. I thought that was apartments.
Yeah.
But I
Unless
thought the
you guys
rest of it
changed it.
was-
I thought that was
I thought the
all
rest
zoned
of it was
RP,
single. I don't think it,
and it was all single
Graduated
family.
No, I think it is all single family.
Oh, I don't know.
Except for
I
that
thought they
one
were
corner.
apartments.
Okay.
Either way, multifamily housing, I just,
I'm not arguing with you, I'm just trying to make sure we're all talking about the same thing, because like you said, it's hard with it when we don't have a map in front of us to, because we have gone through a lot of different plats in that area recently,
yeah,
in the last year.
yeah.
and we're not done.
Nope,
We're
not.
not done.
Any other deliberation? Entertain a motion?
I,
You can't see.
I can't say anything,
Okay.
I'm black, I'm
Why are
done
you-
for.
Why?
Her monitor
No,
went out.
Because
my
she
monitor went
touched
out and
it.
we couldn't
Oh,
fix it
She
either.
Okay.
touched it.
I
She
can
always
motion,
You can motion, right?
okay, I move to deny approval to the Spring Hill governing body for rezoning preliminary plat applications PZD 125-223 and plat 119-223 with conditions and all engineering comments that have not been addressed. Must be prior to filing the final plat, so I'm recommending denial.
Recommended no, okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to deny the applicant for the rezoning and preliminary plat. Start the voting on the left.
So,
So if we agree, we'd
Sorry.
say yay?
yeah, so a vote of yes is actually a vote to recommend denial, so.
Correct. And that's
Just
what-
we're on the
that's
same
what I said.
page, sorry, this is a weird double negative
No, that's
situation.
good, because that's what I was getting ready to ask. I was like,
I thought that's what I said. The motion was to deny the applicant.
Right.
Okay.
okay,
So-
okay.
No, sorry, I sensed the hesitance, I wanted
Yeah.
to jump in, that might be where we're going.
You know,
I thought she was just contemplating how. she
well, it was
use
both, but I was like,
Okay.
Yes. For me, because I would like more information on the questions that we have put out there.
Okay.
Yes.
My concern is the design for the buildings, that they would be, make sure that all those concerns are addressed.
So
Aye.
that is yes?
Aye,
Yes.
aye or yes?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh,
Oh, wait,
did you-
wait, wait.
were you good? Did you have?
Sorry,
good.
we'll back up. We'll
I
back
was
up.
simply gonna say that I agree with you. I have concerns with the design of the buildings. I also have a concern and agree with the, nearby residents that, it should be single family.
Thank you.
So if we vote yes, we have to give a reason why, because we're
Yes.
You
denying
don't,
the
you
application?
do not have to give it, you do not
Okay.
have
But
to
they
give it.
they recommend that.
what-
Okay, so
Well,
yes.
Normally, we ask for a explanation why you're voting no, but
But because it's
voting
a
yes
denial,
is no in this
Right.
situation.
So you don't have to give an answer, you just say yes.
You can just say yes if you want to.
I'm just gonna say yes.
Okay.
Because I always have an explanation, because I always vote no. So, yes.
Are you voting no or yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I am concerned about the density and I'm concerned about the showcasing of the garages and no explanation or understanding of what's happening with tornado shelters.
Okay, so motion carries 6-0 to deny the application. All right, moving on to discussion.
Because I was ready to lean over. It's just, no, it's just discussion, so we're okay.
I just, you don't want to probably look at mine because I don't know what I'm doing.
Any discussion items?
He still don't either, mine's went
Amy?
blank.
No.
Any reports? Any discussion from any members up here? Excuse me, I didn't mean to jump past that.
Well, I guess the only discussion I'm gonna have is, I mean, Amy, I've asked you several times, you know what my question is. Where are we at with this comp plan?
Yeah, that's on my announcements, not so
Okay.
much discussion.
Okay,
I'm not Pat. I don't wanna talk all night.
well,
Is Pat coming back?
I'll tell him you said.
Okay, so.
Okay, moving on to reports then.
Yes,
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
survey number 3 went live for the comp plan, so get on there and take it, pass the word. And then I spoke to Shockey, we're gonna look at the first meeting in December, for them to come give us an update, give you an update on where we're at.
I was just gonna ask, can we skip December, but I guess we can't.
You can.
I don't know when,
You not.
I don't know when Shocky's going to do this, but like, she's been asking and I've been thinking, do they have any maps, anything that we can look at in terms of what people are saying or not saying or?
We are still collecting data and, our steering committee is Monday. At that time, we're gonna start looking at maps and talking discussions like that.
Is anybody from the commission on the steering board?
Mr. Rodolfo
Okay.
and
Josh is, isn't he?
Josh is.
Josh.
Thank you for serving on that.
Sounds like we have the right people there.
Go ahead.
Says that we have the right people there.
What would you?
I would agree
Is
with
it to me? Is it bad about me?
no, you know what it is, I'm sure.
So
If
I
you had-
missed meeting with Shockey. Is it because I missed those meetings or just because they cancel? Have they come?
They've
Okay.
been, yes,
I think I met them once, but,
yes, they've been here once in, city council.
okay.
I'm just feeling very shortchanged
Unconnected.
by the process. It's definitely different than the other two that I've gone through. Don't feel like we're getting much communication. And that meeting the other night, you can sum that up for me, and I mean, that was, thank you for running it, Amy. I mean, I'm just very, I'll be vocal about it. I'm very disappointed in what's happening with this comp plan. Think we're dragging our feet. I don't think we're getting enough public input, not enough interaction.
We're trying. I mean, we're doing pop-up events and we are trying to get everyone to take the survey. I mean, it's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard to get people to come talk to you.
I understand that.
Could you guys go to people? Like go to, football's over now, but could you go to a basketball game or, things like that where people are?
I mean, we do.
So,
They've
so
been
how
to-
did
We've
the,
been
how
to
did the pop-up event go at Fall Festival?
We had better, we had a lot of good interaction with some residents. It wasn't as much as we'd hope, but, you know, we had a few interacting, things that they could do, housing types that they could choose and things like that, but, we've been to the luau at the pool. Not a whole lot going on there for us. We'll be at the Hometown Holidays here on December 1st.
Well, I mean, they had a meeting the other night, and there was 12 people that showed up, 2 city council members and myself. I mean, I think we're doing something wrong at not getting people into meetings, and I don't know if the steering committee meetings are being well attended? If we're getting good response there?
We are, they're pretty full. I mean, I think they're doing,
So that's probably the best piece of what's been happening. Okay. That's
I
good.
thought we'd have the plan by now.
oh no.
But
It won't
when we
be-
were
it
talking
won't
like a
be
year
going
ago, I
about
thought they said it
March.
would be a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got started late,
So
Later than
is
we
it
had
proposed to be done
March.
of 2024?
So another 4 or 5 months.
I just don't feel like they're having much, I thought they would have a lot more connections with this planning commission and in and out and more hands-on events and
It did seem like when we first started off, that we were having work sessions with them and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and then we kind of went away from that. So I'm not saying good or bad, I'm just, I understand what you're saying, it seemed like we were going to be more involved in the process.
Well, and even I mean, I'll be real honest here. I walked away from that meeting the other night incredibly disappointed and thinking, what are we spending our money on? There was no monitor doing anything. Everything that got done, Amy did it. There was zilch coming from there. There was no explanation. There was no greeting of people coming in. There was no, okay, let's start this. Now I want this table to do this table. There was nothing.
So are we able to give them feedback and let them know what we want?
I will
Okay.
let them know
I don't,
what you have said here tonight.
I just,
I mean, nothing from there.
This is the type of feedback I think that we need to be giving them, so.
And the expectation, that we expect that they'll be monitoring and that they'll be,
well, and we even asked. I mean, there
Yeah.
was, Amy and I both kind of said something and it still just kind of fell on deaf ears. I'm not sure, maybe he wasn't feeling well, maybe he wasn't comfortable with something that was just passed off to him before he walked out of the office, or I don't know, but it was not what we've done on the other two at all.
And there is the online survey number 3 going on right now. What kind of responses have we had on the other 2 surveys, number wise?
I don't want to get these backwards. I think maybe the first survey was about 300 and maybe the second was 240. I hope I'm not flip-flopping those.
Okay.
No, I think the first one had the higher amount.
Yeah. And I'm still doing my part trying, I'll be sending them out to the HOAs to kind of help throw them into those subdivisions. I don't know why we can't get anybody to come to our meetings,
Because nobody likes change.
to the focus groups and things like that. So I don't know.
Nobody likes change. They want to keep everything exactly the way it is. They don't want to think about change. I mean, it's something that I think that, whether we're city officials or citizens working for the city or we're leaders in different businesses or have our own, we're gonna find that no matter who we're dealing with, nobody wants to go through change. And I don't think it's gonna be a survey that's gonna get them to do it. Like, we actually have to
I have to stand.
actually go through like full change management with the citizens about what we're doing. And I don't really, I mean, we can't even get people to come into our meetings. Thanks for these individuals that are here right now. But we barely get people to come to these meetings, let alone come talk about what we're gonna look like in 20 years.
Well, we have had a few meetings where there was quite a bit of public
Well,
participation.
that's when we have those nice public hearings.
well, I think those are important though too, because again, people don't feel heard. I know that, Woodland Ridge certainly did not feel heard, when the subdivision was going across the street. And I think that's why it's so important, that we listen to people and take that into consideration. Because if it's just an immediate yes or no, does it fall into this box? There's no need for us. I don't know why we're here if it's an automatic yes.
Yeah, I think, and you just said something that's really, tonight felt a lot different than it ever has before. And Spencer, maybe you can elaborate on this. But every single time we've done one of these in my tenure here, it has been very black and white. Either you like what they have and you say no, or you don't. And if you don't, and it fits within the rules of the golden rules, technically we're wrong and we're going to get overturned anyway. Because they technically are with the golden we can say no all we want, but in the end, they have the law on their side.
Yeah, so it's the golden rules are tricky. When the Supreme Court established those, it was 8 criteria that they want cities to look at when you're considering a rezoning. You don't have to look at all 8. You don't have to look at any of them. It's not a 5-3 vote. Which one has the most yeses and nos? They're essentially the guidepost for you guys to go on. It's the Supreme Court saying, hey, as long as a city is generally looking at these things, we as the courts are probably not going to come in and overturn it. Call it like a safe harbor. Spring Hill's code has, what do we have? Do we have 10 total? They're in your commissions. So in your packet every time, right, there's these 12 conditions or 12 factors to look at. So our city council, our governing body, has added 4 additional considerations for you guys to look at. So we have the golden factors plus 4. Sometimes, like a lot of them, sometimes they're just an easy yes and no. Sometimes they're a larger talk. I mean, the adequacy of facilities, correcting an error, right? A lot, those are kind of minor, but yeah, I mean, it's up to you all. And when you are doing a rezoning, you are essentially doing a quasi-judicial function, which means that you're taking facts that are given to you from your public hearing, you're gathering facts, and you're applying them to your city code. You're applying them to those 12 factors. So, like when you do a zoning text amendment or when you look at a comprehensive plan, that is more of a legislative policy-based decision. You're setting up, hey, this is what we want the code to say. This is what the comp plan to say. That's a forward-thinking document. That's usually just what really reserved for governing body. Those are the 2 times that you guys get to do legislative amendments. And even then, your text amendments have to go through the governing body too. So this function is that almost like a court function of you're just looking at what's in front of you. And yeah, there's some more gray area, but it's tough for you guys to look at and say, hey, I don't like this plan. If you had said, I think these duplexes are ugly, so we're going to say no, I probably would have jumped in and said, hold on, we're not the pretty police. You don't get to do that. But you do get to look at and say, which of these factors are concerning on a specific issue. So the concern with the floor plans here, where is this actually in compliance with city code, and how we want our garages set up, storm shelters, as we look at effects on neighboring properties. I mean, you want to use as guideposts. So it doesn't have to be a straight up and down golden factor. It doesn't matter if I like it. Personally liking it really isn't part of it, but you guys need to feel comfortable that you can make a defensible case under these criteria of city code of, as long as under those 12 factors, something is pushing you yes or no, you're okay to vote. But if you don't feel that way, you should be voting no. That said, you also shouldn't be voting no just because you personally don't like a plan or just because people are here saying no. I mean, I guarantee you 8 months ago, we had just a single family development and everyone was complaining that they weren't on 3-acre lots. So I guarantee you every development plan you guys are going to see, there will be people here to say, no, we don't like that. And, that happens.
And they're entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinion. No one loves change. That we talked about that.
Nobody wants change.
Right, and it's up to the governing body to set the long-term policy goals of, okay, at a certain point, like we need to figure out where we're allocating money and roads and things like that. So
on that topic, if I can jump in on that.
Please.
So one of the things that we've talked about on multiple occasions is we don't feel like the roads are up to snuff in order to handle the population increase that we're gonna, when we pass this. Is that really a decision that we should be making though? Because I don't feel like it is. That is not one of the criteria that now we can say that we need a turning lane or something, but as far as to say that the road, because we don't have the purse strings. We cannot control what the money is spent on that the city chooses to spend the money on. So that really falls on the city council, I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong on that.
no, so it's not explicitly one of the factors. Traffic is usually what people use to fight any upward density from empty to single or single to something else. They're always going to say traffic because that's the easiest thing to conceptualize. More people means more cars until we're all on bikes like our friends in Europe. So Yeah, but that's not one of the 12, so it fits in there as far as suitability for current use and detrimental effects. It's a consideration, but I would caution you all not to let traffic be your primary or guiding concern when it comes to rezoning, because that's a tricky one to justify, especially when we have traffic engineers that can tell us whether or not the roads handle it. But as it gets
We don't
to,
get very many traffic studies, sorry, Spencer, we don't get
Right.
very many traffic studies back that are giving us F grades.
right, I will say this, right, so you don't control the purse strings. What I will say is there's a cyclical issue with these, which is that the best way to get new roads is to increase the tax base, both from doors and property tax, but then also your sales tax. To get sales tax, you need to be a larger community to attract some of those. There's not a lot of fast food places that want to come into a community this size. A lot of them have a 10 or 15,000 person minimum. To get there, you need more doors. So it's this cycle of you kind of have to grow population to attract the right commercial development to then create the sales tax to do the roads. And I know that that sounds like putting the cart before the horse sometimes of we want the roads first, but the downside is you go out and improve a road to be 4 lanes and then before anything out there is rezoned R2, 3 around it, the developers say, well, we didn't want it there. We want it on 223rd. We want it on 191st. And now you just put a whole bunch of money in your CIP on 207th for what was the old Alaska, the bridge to nowhere back in the 2000s. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tricky thing, and that's why we have professional staff here, and Amy and Lane and Rhonda, they're working really hard on trying to figure out how to balance all those interests. So it's tricky. There's not a great answer. As long as you guys are just coming into these with open minds and looking at each one of these individually, and in these individual applications and the factors for each one, that's all you can do.
Because doesn't it only have to have the 2 points to be able to get there? You have to be able to walk, ride your bike, and or drive. I'm trying to remember how it read
For
like the traffic part of it. So you have to be able to get there 2 ways, whether it's walking, driving, biking. And I think there's something in the code for that, but I can't remember.
I don't know that off the top of my head, sorry.
Well, I think that once we get further down the road with this comp plan, it's gonna help us be able to put more teeth into the CIP each year that we review that. Well, I mean, I've spoke to 2 or 3 of the, but, they just went back and added a designated number to the sidewalks. And my comment on that was, that's great and wonderful, but it should line up like we were doing the roads. You need to put some teeth behind that and say, this is where we want to start. That $100,000 or whatever earmarked number, the way it's in the comp plan now, could go to any of the new subdivisions when it's Old Town that everybody's worried about getting the walkability to. So I think that the more we get this comp plan done and the more that we talk about things, the more teeth we can put into those things, because that we're earmarking and saying this road, but then there's other things we're putting into the comp plan that we're not putting the teeth and earmarking, like the sidewalk. I think that the council members that I've talked to understand, and they're like, well, yeah, that's true. This election cycle, we could lose two positions on there, and that could be new people coming in, and they'll read it a different way than what it was ever intended for. So I think that the more that we talk about just what you're saying and the comp plan getting done, the more teeth we can actually put in and make the CIP even better and stronger. Comp plan will get stronger, CIP can get stronger.
Yes, with the caveat that your comp plan can't control where the CIP money goes down the road. So your comp plan's long-term future use document of where we want to be.
Right, but it can
Right.
say, oh, well, now something happened to this road, now this is the road that needs to be pushed farther in current with the CIP versus something. I'm just saying it's gonna be able to give us more of an understanding of where we want things to go and suggest things to go with teeth versus just, we want a trails program or we want a new build. I think it's gonna give us all more of what we're looking for.
So Cindy, why do you say that the sidewalks would go to the new subdivisions? Because
I'm
they,
just saying it potentially could. I'm not saying it would.
well, why, I mean, we're already putting sidewalks in the new subdivisions as they're going in, so why do you, so
But
that would
some of them
be,
didn't get that. So the 100,000 could go to, oh, I've lost the name of the subdivision out by the high school, Prairie,
Brick Ridge.
not,
Prairie Creek?
what?
Prairie Ridge.
Prairie Ridge. So we didn't push because we said, oh, that 199th is gonna get widened and it's be a waste of money. So we didn't push sidewalks there.
I think that they made an agreement though, that when when the storm sewers went in, that they would put sidewalks in there, that's part of their agreement when they went in.
That's what we remember, but again, that's my point.
Well, I mean,
If
but
you and
that's,
I are
in
gone,
the-
city council's different than what it was then.
yeah, but that was something that was written down in the original plan when they were building the
Right, but-
subdivision.
You're right, it
That
was
would not be
Different
part of the
comments
CIP, that would not be part of the CIP money.
What she's saying.
That's what
I'm
I'm
sorry?
saying.
Who's gonna remember that?
Right, and who's gonna
Who's
pull
go
that back
pull
up to
that
be read?
document From,
That's what we got Amy for.
She's
Or Amy.
got a lot.
So I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
Guys, that's the,
potentially say, here, we're gonna go do that one, versus when we really think it's South Street, or we really think it's Harrison Street, or it would just be better, just like attaching a road name to the road improvements, or the sections of town that's gonna get sewer improvements. I just think it,
Well, I mean, that's why, for example, there's a subdivision next to, Brookwood Farms, and I can't remember the name of it. You know, right on the,
Crossing.
yeah,
yes,
and in the plat that we approved, we said you will put in sidewalks. And so they're supposed to put in sidewalks. Now, whether they do it today or tomorrow, I don't know.
You mean through?
But it's in, yeah, because they were supposed to extend the sidewalk that comes along, Brookwood Farms. And then when it curves around to, down the street, it was supposed to be a walking trail, which means it could be
Right.
asphalt,
I think we need
you know.
sidewalks like
But
high
it's
school.
in the plan that we approved, so. I mean, the developer has to do it, you know, either before they build the last house or when they build the next one.
as long as we're staying up on our tickler file of where. all
Well,
it's
sure,
supposed to be done.
somebody,
What else?
So Spencer, you're gonna say something? Okay.
Can I get the golden rules? Can you email that to me just separate, just like golden rules, so I know, so I can see them? Cause I know you said they're in the packet. I don't think I saw them in the packet.
so if you pull up like,
Each of those 12
Girl.
items, each of the 12 items that are in the
1,
packet
2,
for every
3, 4, 5.
individual topic.
Oh,
it's these.
oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
So those
Okay,
are your,
thank you.
use those as your guideposts.
Ah.
As you're looking at these beforehand, you're talking during.
Okay.
8 that can.
Be referring back to those factors and say, and it, I mean, look, you guys don't need to do this, but it can help each other follow along. And when you look up and be like, hey, Commissioner Mitchell talks about the conformance to the comp plan all the time. That's number 7. So you guys know, okay, we're in there. Feel free to reply to those or, reply to each other and talk about those ones and guide each other through. I mean, that's the productive conversation that gets you all on the same page rather than kind of jumping around to the things you like and don't like. Or do it that way. I mean, you're in charge, not me. But that's just,
Oh, so you're putting it back on me now?
yeah,
Okay.
however you want.
Debbie, you're just looking at pictures.
Okay, so,
She said, what?
So are you just looking at pictures in there?
are we still, we're under reports now, correct? Or we're still under discussion? Sorry, I got lost.
Report.
It kind of went back and forth there, so.
So at the October 26th City Council, the site plan for the fire station storage building was approved, as well as the final plat for bedrock concrete. And nothing was on the October 12th.
The
And
big one's coming this second meeting in November? First meeting in December.
It'll be the 9th.
First meeting in December.
Nope, 9th of November.
November.
Night.
Oh, the 9th, it's coming the first
The
one.
next,
in
the next
November.
meeting, the next city council meeting is when the
Sweetwater
apartments will
Flats.
come back up.
Okay.
The ones that are over by Price Chopper?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
on
Oh, the ninth.
223rd Street.
And it's not a public hearing though?
It's not, no, the public
so-
hearing is closed. It's now in the hands of city council.
Yeah, that's why it's so important for you guys in these public hearings. I mean, you're the ones doing the only public hearing under state law, so that's why, yeah, we encourage people to come here. They can go speak in front of the governing body during
Right.
open comment session, but those don't really become part of the record, so.
So, and I did ask Amy that it does require a supermajority because it did not pass the planning commission.
It just requires.
It'll be a two-thirds majority.
Two-thirds, excuse me, it's a two-thirds majority. So then my question was, if there's 5 council members, is that 4?
Yeah, so it'll take 4 votes no matter what. Because your governing body is 6 people, a majority and a two-thirds majority are the same number, which is 4.
Well, if
Doesn't
it's,
vote
but
on
it-
that one, so it has
so,
to be.
okay, so that's what I was wondering, if the mayor voted on that, because then it would be 3. It'd still be 4, you just have 2 noes, okay. So I'm trying to get it clear in my head.
Right, Spencer, the mayor doesn't vote on that one.
It's an ordinance, does he? I think,
Yes, he did.
I think he does
Oh
on the
my god, it's
ordinance.
late. Let me look at that and get back
He
to you.
votes on rezonings,
I think he does.
votes on rezonings.
Isn't it a roll call vote? We have to check.
I think it's a rezoning and I don't think he does.
I don't remember.
Ordinances he does, but I don't.
But it is an ordinance.
A rezoning is an ordinance?
Yeah, rezoned by ordinance. Sorry, rezoned by ordinance, yeah.
So then it is only gonna need to be 3.
No,
No, it'll still be 4.
He's one of the
but there'll be
6.
6 people voting.
Oh, so it'd still be 4, okay.
It'd still be 4, but there'll be 6 people voting instead of just 5.
Okay, okay.
So if only 5 people show up, 4 still have to vote, yes?
correct. Correct. Right, 3 to 5 is just.
So is it,
yep.
is it the people attending, or is the total number that can vote?
The people attending. So for example, if 6 people are there, it's 4 out of 6. If 5 people are there, it's 4 out of 5. If 6 people go and like someone recuses himself, that takes it down to 5.
Okay.
So it's not the total number of 6, it's the total present that day.
Okay. I was gonna say,
Does recusal count as a no vote though?
it does in that instance.
I think so. I know recusal pulls them out for
Doesn't
our
it?
Open Meetings Act. I need to check on the voting, but yeah, I mean recusal, it's gonna take 4 either way. If it's 6 and someone recuses, they still need 4 votes. If it's 5 and someone recuses, I guess it would be, well, it might be 3, but I have
I
to
was gonna
check
say,
to
if there's
check
only
the
4
3.
there, then it would take 3, so.
Yeah. If any of them plans on recusing, I expect them to come talk to me before.
The suspense of it all, I tell you.
It's my name.
Alrighty. Any other reports?
I do not have any.
Okay, sorry, I kinda drug that out a little bit. Announcements. Anybody have any announcements for? I know that, we're looking for a 9th person for the planning commission.
We are, so if you know anybody, tell them to go fill out an application. And multiple other boards.
The pay is good. If anybody's listening.
Didn't that work out?
For Scott, Mr. Scott.
Somebody said we work for the city. Who said that? And I was like, we do?
Where's my page?
Like May 2nd, I think.
Okay, any other announcements?
My leg's still broken,
Your leg's still broken, I'm sorry.
still broken.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0.